on that flip side, T1, I call these guys kings of the ultra late. If it gets there, they just find a way to win.
Yeah. What's it like playing against T1? Obviously, you guys just last year were in a tough scenario for top 4, I believe. It was what, the upper bracket semifinals.
Top 3
versus top 3. Excuse me. Yes, top 3. Quincy Crew versus T1. You guys played a full series against them. What's it like playing against T1?
Well, that was a series where we learned about T1 Doom. I think a lot of other people did, and to our detriment. This is a team that every time you win or lose a fight and the game still progresses, you feel bad past a certain point. The later the game goes, you just feel like they have this weird inevitability. And even this game, looking at their lineup, oh, it's a bristleback Pugna Shaman. Maybe it's some fast push. Don't be confused. This is some secret scale tech, you know? These guys are perfectly happy to go the 40, the 50, the 60 minutes, almost no matter what. That is their wheelhouse. I think the name of the game in this series is if it gets to that point, I think it starts to favor them more and more. Almost despite whatever hero matchups exist. Lycan Tiny be damned. I would still favor them.
And one of those things has got to be just their team fight prowess, right? I mean, I would say that these guys are absolutely, last year they were one of the absolute best teams at being able to start fights, reset fights, and go again.
I mean, their late game team fighting is absolutely astounding. The rune fighting, though, that's another question.
Yeah, the early push in from Gaimin Gladiators seems like they're picking up the speed already, and they're going to go for the first blood onto Gabby and should be able to get it. They cop a lot of damage in return, but with 3 heroes here, they can keep Whitemon out of lane. Whitemon's going to continue to use his movement speed advantage and long range to keep poking at them as they try and retreat. Celery and Tofu will make sure they're fighting together, but it does look like they're going to be going for an aggro trend lane, and they're going to be giving Ace the solo lane. This is more flavor from Gaimin Gladiators that we're used to. They like their summon heroes. They like this Enchantress quite a bit, and the Chen actually, and they like being able to do aggro trend lanes. What is it about that they like these concepts so much?
Well, Ace used to be a carry, you know, so anytime he can get some farm, some solo XP, he's gonna be pretty happy. I think his hero pool is just one of those hero pools where if he can get a one-on-one or even 1-on-2, if he can survive it, his heroes, they use the XP so well. Lycan's another one of these. If you can get to the fast 8 to 9 range, he's going to be super happy. And the same with some of these broods and those types of heroes. The downside is you end up in these 1-on-2s. You can get heavily abused, as we've seen. And this is another situation where hopefully they learn from that other series. You have to get the punish on the other end, which is lay the damage into Gabby and make sure he's not getting as much CS as he would prefer to be getting in this Bristle early game.
Yeah, it seems like T1 did take perhaps a little bit of flavor from the Liquid matchup against Gaimin Gladiators, where they also took the carry Bristleback, and they actually did the aggro tri lane and such, but it was the Enigma plus Clockwork lane that destroyed Ace's Broodmother really badly. But I have to imagine that lane would be a lot harder. This matchup, double range heroes in the bottom lane against the Lycan, but I have to feel like Ace is still going to get something out of it.
This is definitely an easier lane to survive in. You also have the Wolves, which are stronger early. Remember that Brood matchup, he had basically nothing to fight for him early on.
True.
This lane, Lycan has natural regen. He still kept the equilibrium under his tower. Phoenix is not the best hero to super punish you early on. So he's going to be able to survive this 1-on-2, and Kuku giving him the tip, but tip for what? For what, son?
Don't know. Meanwhile, Gabby continues to be harassed by this aggro tri lane that's coming out from Gaimin Gladiators, but Bristleback is one of the better heroes to return fire, at least. You can see everybody is having to burn through regen here. We're also looking at that mid matchup a little bit, which Carl seems to be doing a very good job. Lina versus Storm Spirit, though, kind of favors Lina, but I mean, you've had some pretty high praise for Carl as a mid laner.
I mean, I think this guy is easily a top 3 mid of the tournament based on the gameplay we've seen, how important this guy is to his team. He's an extremely skilled laner. And again, as the game progresses, this guy knows how to scale his heroes. He knows how to itemize. This is definitely the player to watch out for this team. And it's almost where you wish this Enchantress could gank mid for this Storm, but not with the regen differential being this large this early. And T1, they warded for it as well. So they were already thinking about what that their own safe lane jungle op. That's an uncommon op to ward in a lot of games. This is, you know, potentially the strength of March, giving him the heads up.
Ace The 2-1-2 matchup, it's going to be good enough. They do manage to kill the Lycan, so they weren't able to shut him down experience-wise as much as that previous lane that we were talking about. But meanwhile, the aggro tri-lane does manage to find its own kill, and Gabby is also very, very low. In fact, they're going to go for the kill. He's got 5 stick charges, but they couldn't get the toss backwards. They didn't even necessarily need it. If they just hit a toss straight up in the air, they do manage to get it. Celery just ducks forward with the Enchantress's extra movement speed. She hits the one impetus required to get the kill.
And double range creep going down after that bristle death, so he's definitely not happy about that one.
Oh yeah, that's
maybe if you end up in these region X trades but you get the XP, you can kind of justify it, but that's gonna hurt. The flip side, that's kind of the one lane that's going well for Gaimin Gladiators. The other two not looking amazing. Again, ace in the 1v2. Okay, you can accept the trade-off there as long as you can pay it back later in the game. But this mid lane is, it's getting a little dangerous. Carl's almost a full level ahead here.
Yeah.
T1, they're looking to abuse it. Zephyr, he's poking his head in and out here.
Gaimin Gladiators did have pretty defensive high ground wards that spotted Zephyr's rotations over here, so that's why Boom's playing the far left-hand side and not trying to get an ECS right now. He knows once he pops his head forward, if he gets hit by an LSA, he's going to get followed up by a shackle. So he's going to wait until Celery gets here, and Celery is indeed in the neighborhood now, so probably not the creep he wanted, but he's going to stack it up, at least for the Storm Spirit.
Perhaps not the creep he deserved, but
oh, they're actually going to switch the lanes.
Yeah, I mean, normally if you do this, you'd like to be able to gain for it with the numbers and then swap it up. But
yeah,
their heroes are just not designed to do it, so
that's true.
Trying to make the best of the situation. I mean, Bristle can function okay from the off lane, especially if he gets some of that triangle stacked later. And this is probably the matchup they wanted in the first place.
Right.
This Bristle Lycan. Downside is now Lycan's level 5, and you're putting this Phoenix in the safe lane. It's a bit more awkward at this point in the game, so they're not going to get exactly what they would have wanted ideally.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I question whether or not, like, being a level behind, how much pressure Bristleback's going to be able to put in there. But I guess with Shadow Shaman, one of the best supports you can ask for in a 1v2 scenario, maybe they will be able to keep him down. But Carl, he's being pressured right now. He's got the rest of his supports right behind him. They're going to actually hurricane him into the Storm Sphere, but that's perfect for Carl. He turns around, blasts down the Storm Sphere with the help of Zephyr and Whitemon. And unfortunately for Carl, he really wanted the rune as well. They're not going to get that. Instead, they're going to try and kill the hard camp creep. He's forced to pop the Fairy Fire to stay alive, but no refill on the bottle. He'll have to get all that regen from his supports.
This is a mid lane where you definitely want to win those rune fights, and that's why we're seeing 6 heroes there at 6 minutes. These power runes are super pivotal for Storm. It's one of the things about this hero that accelerates him so fast. If he can shove the wave in and help his team secure him for himself, it goes a long way. So I'm excited to see that T1 understand this, and they're pressuring that mid lane off the back of that lean advantage too.
Double damage. Cuckoo in trouble. He'd already used the Icarus dive. He had been doing a really good job. Actually, he's going to give him a... Oh, no! He wanted to click across, and he blocked him with the ward. Oh, no. You saw Cuckoo. He was pinging that one.
I'm glad he's laughing about it.
Yeah. He probably figured, man, maybe it was a bit of a long shot. Either way, he gets to reset. He was doing a good job of pressuring the Tiny, though. He was doing a really great job with those fire spirits. But
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty.
That is a point where you will be happy as that matchup progresses later in the game. This is one of the better matchups versus Tiny in general.
Yeah.
It's very rare you can kill it. Though I do wonder with this, the new tech, the Moon Shard builds, maybe it flips the script a little bit, you know? Maybe we're gonna see some Tiny killing some eggs instead of the other way around.
Yeah, it could be. You're talking about the Moon Shard rush that we're seeing out of these Tinies.
I mean, he's got it queued up. He already knows.
Yeah. So that will be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He's still a melee hero, and if he gets hit by fire spirits, I have to manage it's still going to be a struggle. But yeah, I mean, if he can get some hits in.
I mean, even him being able to get 1 to 3 as opposed to 0.
Sure.
Would be a big deal, right?
Yeah, especially in the first couple of eggs, for sure. Storm here is going to be able to stop the shackles, but it's too late for Celery, who gave away a dominating streak over to Carl. Boom. Uses the rest of his mana to ensure that he does get the haste rune, the refill of the bottle, but still, that was a healthy amount of net worth. Look at the Lina. Carl sitting at 3,500 net worth after that big kill.
He's having a great game.
Brewing at Radiant's bottom tower.
And this is one of those games where he's happy to call his supports mid because, again, he was winning the matchup. That's exactly what you want to happen. I don't like these situations where you have these advantageous matchups, your mid's winning the lane, and then what do you do with it? Nothing. I think you're just missing an opportunity to really punish the enemy, take more advantage, and create an aggressive opportunity later. And that's what T1's thinking about, because they're going to use their obs aggressively on that triangle pretty early in the game here.
Yeah.
That tells me they want to play through this advantage they've created off this mid lane. And this is not... Use this Lina to, you know, slay the enemy, not the jungle creeps. Sure. That's what I would like to see.
Dire buildings are tough as nails.
I feel like that's always your mentality, though. You're always wanting the players and teams to be more aggressive.
Well, yeah, because I'm a 5 player, you know, so I'm not going to be hitting ancient creeps, so you got to come fight with me.
That's true. That makes sense now. Cuckoo, trying to hold this safe lane tower. I want to ask you about this core Phoenix and what you think of it. Cuckoo played it once yesterday as well. A lot of people were thinking, okay, yeah, Phoenix, he got a huge buff off of the patches, so maybe this hero's going to be able to come back, but I think most people are expecting it to be support. Core Phoenix, are you feeling it for this patch?
I think it has potential. The other player that comes to mind with this is Whisper, who likes to play it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, he makes it look good. I think Cuckoo's made it look good. This hero builds decent items for the patch. He can play that utility role. His spells will do damage on their own in these matchups like versus Tiny. He always gives you amazing team fight and the heals to sustain. I think it's an interesting hero this patch. Maybe a bit unexplored. The one thing about this hero, though, is as he gets hit by a tree. I would like to see how the interactions play out in terms of the disables for him to output the damage. So I think that's always a big thing with the hero. Historically, I've seen him with heroes like Axe, Mars.
Yeah, keeping people in an area, right?
When he's the 3, then it becomes the question of, okay, who's keeping people locked in a certain area for his egg, for his sun rate to deal with damage? That's going to be the bigger question. It kind of seems like it falls to the Shadow Shaman for Zephyr, but Shadow Shaman's not always the guy who can go in and start stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Carl, he's going to get jumped on the ace. He's going to pop his ultimate, but there are plenty of T1 heroes here. They're going to actually pop that favorite from Tofu coming in from the other side. A perfect sandwich from Gaimin Gladiators, but the rest of the fight may not be so good as they've managed to get the Hex and Shackles onto the Storm Spirit, locking him down and getting an important kill. A 1-for-2 trade so far. Ace is going to have to use that rest of that wolf form to get on out of here.
Cuckoo didn't even feel pressure to egg there in that entire engagement.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting turn. They do get the 2-for-1, but these are these early Lycan ults where you really want to get a lot out of these engagements. And again, this is this T1 team. You feel like you kind of win a fight, and at the same time, it felt like they lost it in a way.
Oh, Celery tried. He was hoping his creep would be able to deliver enough damage to finish off the tower. Instead, it's denied by Whitemon. 7-4, and pretty even game so far. Gaimin Gladiators kind of doing what we expected, using a bit of their zoo heroes to take down some early tier 1 towers. T1 playing a lot slower in that regard, trusting that they're going to be able to hit a certain timing. What timing is that, though?
Bristleback Ags.
Okay.
That's what it always is. This hero is about Vanguard and Ags, and try and match that tempo of Gaimin Gladiators. If you can get it before they try and do something like force a Roche, I think you have a chance to fight it and deny the Storm his Aegis.
Well, Gabby, he's a little bit low already, but oh, Boom actually ignores that, goes for Zephyr instead. With the haste rune, he doesn't give a damn about that Hex, and they're actually going to leave their Bristleback behind. Zephyr's coming back in. They're going to pop the egg now. With the shackles going out, Gabby's still alive. The egg is going to die, but Gabby, oh no, he got pushed back in. Great use of that owlbear by Celery to kick back the original kill they were looking for. 3 big pickups for Gaimin Gladiators. They pick themselves right back up after an awkward mid lane team fight and keep up that aggression.
This is the name of the game for the next 8 minutes here. How much damage can you inflict with this early Enchantress Lycan lineup? I thought that egg was going to be nice because when I first saw it, I thought he hit it on the high ground. Yeah. What he was aiming for, but he ended up getting stuck on the low ground barely there, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a nice little egg we can pop.
Yeah.
Maybe that fight goes a bit different if you can land the spells. We're going to see they're pretty low here at the end. It's the power of this Bristol Phoenix. You're going to get low almost no matter what. But just not enough to clean him in the tank, and definitely a loss for Tier 1. They're going to smoke up, though, and
they try, but Tofu actually intercepts. No, he's actually fast enough. He's able to stay ahead of all of these heroes, so he's going to be good to go. T1, outside of that little move from them, they're not ready to really team fight just yet. I'm looking at Carl's farm right now, and he is closing in on that BKB rush. So next time they have a fight like that, maybe Carl will be ready to go. But with this moon shard timing on the Tiny and the fact that we're not going boots of travel on Carl, it feels like T1, they've got to be the ones to actually take over the game in this like next 10 minutes. Otherwise, I think this Tiny starts getting out of control.
Definitely has a decent road to accelerate out of control here, especially with the stacks on the triangle right now.
Oh yeah, they're
absolutely insane, and they're fighting for this rune. But again, this is 4 heroes from T1 to combat an area where Dyrachyo, he doesn't give a damn right now. He's just going to town.
Doesn't even wait for his shard pickup, which is kind of interesting. I bet he'll wait to do the Ancients maybe until he actually has the shard, but he clears out the hard camp at least.
There were a decent amount of stacks for this Bristle as well. Looking at it, pretty even on both sides, but there's another 5-man smoke from T1. Feels a little unconventional for them. They feel pressured to get a bit more done in this early game so they don't fall behind. Again, they don't have some super easy catch hero, a Blink Burrow or Blink Arena, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is one way to gain some advantage back, though.
Yeah, certainly. I thought maybe they were just going to do it with the smoke bristle, but they're actually all going to start laying into this camp, trying to clear it as quick as possible. Really great steal for them. Because you could see the way that Tiny was accelerating past Carl already, even without that ancient stack. So good way to slow him down. Courier is going to get picked by Celery. T1 are actually going to go straight into the pit, not giving a damn if Gaimin Gladiators knows or not.
And this is the power of that BKB rush on Carl. They feel confident to take the fight, even if Gladiators could run in with the Lycan Tiny. Addition to the Shaman Wars just dies so fast here.
Yeah, it does.
That's a nice pickup. We're seeing some of the tempo counter clash here. Who's gonna get what while their spells are up? Doesn't feel like we've seen a Lycan ult in a decent amount of time.
No, we haven't. But then again, he hasn't really seemed to be pressured to do so at all, right?
Yeah, to a degree, and also T1, they just clumped so early in this game. You prefer to have the weak part of the herd to attack, but if you're gonna 5-man DOTA like this in 15 minutes, do you want to just run in here versus Shackles, Egg, a Vanguard Bristle? Probably not.
That's true.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
Want to be like a lion or a cheetah, pick off the last of the herd. And T1 staying tightly grouped here. Going to use that Aegis advantage just to roll through mid, take that mid tower. But, you know, Gaimin Gladiators are spread across the map. So no doubt they're out farming T1 with this kind of play. As long as nobody gets caught. Dyrachyo actually having a pretty good read here, knowing that he needs to get out. Sees a lot of farm mid to pick up too. And he has the shard. So this big boy is about to get a whole lot bigger if he is uninterrupted in farm for the next 10.
Hey, where'd my ancient stacks go, guys? I told you to stack this game. Miss him a little bit, but I mean, this hero's just a machine with this build.
Dude, look at that. Celery actually pulled the mid wave up the river straight to Dyrachyo.
What a bro.
That is some Uber Eats right there.
Yeah, that's
delivered straight to your door.
He's not getting flamed after this game, no matter what happens. Hey, man, I set you up. What do you want me to do? It's a nice way to use these creeps. It adds a lot to your map pressure and map control.
Yeah.
Even little things like that.
Yeah, this is the power of the Moonshard we're talking about. He just went from Moonshard to Aghanim Shard to Blink Dagger within the space of like 4 minutes. Now he's actually he can kind of start some fights potentially. Carl is gonna lay some damage on him. I don't think he's expecting much past just giving Dyrachyo a little bit of warning. Hey, don't farm that far forward.
Now Gladiators, they have this BKB on Boom. This is kind of the big window for Storm in this patch, is he feels immortal during this period.
Yeah. But who's actually immortal is this guy right here, Carl. Or at least he thinks he's immortal.
Yeah, Gladiators think there's people behind him, but he's actually alone here. This is the power of the Aegis. This is how you want to use it. Instill the fear.
Yeah.
Even when it's not the reality.
And I feel like like maybe if it was just the Aegis, they might have committed to that Lina kill and be like, oh no, we can kill him twice. But Aegis and BKB, I mean, that just looks like something you don't want to commit to. Carl is going to survive through the tiny combo, but the Storm Spirit is going to be there, and actually will finish off the Aegis and maybe get Whitemon as well. Yeah, with that BKB, it's going to be pretty damn easy. Carl's Aegis gets burned. Rest of Gaimin Gladiators aren't in a position to go for more because some of them are currently trying to push out top. Ace, he's going to pop his ultimate here out of perhaps a little bit of fear of getting caught and maybe seeing an opportunity to go for more. They're going to be able to catch with the Fiend's Grip, the Phoenix on the side, while Ace is making sure the rest of them are tucked underneath their tier 2 tower,
Ace
afraid for their lives.
They know they're stuck under this tier 2. 2 heroes dead and the biggest team fighter.
And the tier 2 about to fall as well, so there won't be any TP rotation. One last one coming in. Dyrachyo is going to be the first one to jump in with his Blink Dagger. They spotted Zephyr, and boom, will collect. Dominating streak for him now.
Feels like Gladiators weathered that early part of the 5-man storm by T1 super well, got to their item timings, and now they can pick and choose the fights because, again, who is going to start stuff for this T1 lineup? That is the downside of their heroes right now. It's all on this Shaman. He's not finding anything that he wants to find at this point, so
yeah.
Gladiators are going to be able to dictate the next 10, almost feels like 10 minutes. That's such a long time in Dota, but...
And it also feels like with this like early BKB rush of Carl, it just felt like that's not T1, you know? I expect Carl to be going for that the fast boot to travel and to be like out farming the enemy by playing all over the map with the bots. But because he went the BKB first, we thought they were going to try and do something in that 15-minute window. Couldn't get anything real done besides the Roshan pickup. And now feels like they're going to be falling pretty far behind it, maybe not being able to scale, which we've said is one of the key components to a lot of T1 success over the last year or two.
It does feel like that, but that's where this team is deceptive.
That's the deceptive part.
The second you think they're not scaling, suddenly fights might become a little challenging, you know? And that is still the power of their lineup. Their heroes are very difficult to run into and just commit to the fight. The upside is Gladiator's lineup has a decent amount of ability to poke and kite it out. Like we saw in that fight around the mid-tier 1. They can jump this Lina even if she has Aegis, kill the Pugna, there's an egg, and so what? Storm just leaps out, Lycan just runs away.
Yeah,
that's the type of fight Gladiators really want. But if T1 can sustain through that initial jump, then they kind of win the fight just by a product of this Lycan ult will run out and Storm runs out of mana.
Yeah.
That's a lot to sustain through in this patch, you know.
They're going to run into Gabby here. Gabby, who has a Vanguard Gem Aghanim Scepter, so he is very tanky. And they're relying on him for a bit of ward control here. Celery, nice use of Glimmer TP, no stuns. And that is going to be kind of a constant problem for T1 in some regards.
Do have a Blink Dagger on Zephyr now, though. And that is probably the most impactful item for this team.
Oh, yeah.
For a decent amount of time, because now they do have a way to initiate. They have a way to lock people down right up the start of the fight and force Gladiators to commit. It's one of the biggest conceptual things for their lineup here. Ace, he has a full Assault Cuirass. The amount of damage this Tiny's going to output if he's allowed to hit people, it's monstrous. So
yeah, no Helmet Dominator, no Helmet the Overlord, Vlad's AC, Wraith Pact.
It's an interesting build, bit different than your old school Lycans. I've even seen some pub Lycans playing with the Shard, so
okay.
Don't hate it till you try Zephyr, though.
Interesting. Blink initiate. Thought of the Storm Sphere. That's a perfect one. But can they do the damage fast enough? The Shackle, it's going to run out eventually. BKB goes off. Boom's able to jump away. Boom's able to jump back in. Couldn't get the regen room. That would have been a big pickup. Zephyr having some problems with some wolves here is going to be kept alive by his Geek Fam bro of Whitemon. Those two have been together since 2020 Geek Fam, and they stay together now on T1. Whitemon protecting his other support.
That is the exact type of fight T1 wants to take, and that is the power of this Pugna hero. Decreps Zephyr there and keeps him alive for the full duration of that Shackle, which almost lets them get the Storm. They're going to get both supports off the back end of this.
Pretty nice.
This is what I'm saying, man. This T1 team, they know how to make their lineups work. They know the weaknesses, how to itemize.
Oh, they're going to try and go for the Bristleback. Bristleback immediately managed to turn around for a second, but the pullback was so long, Dyrachyo got around him and beat him in the face. That was nasty. Hefty amount of damage. Gabby.
Bare knuckles right there.
It really was. Well, not bare knuckles. He's using a weapon. That guy picked up a giant log. Cuckoo. Okay, Shackles. Oh, see if he can get the dive away. He does. Zephyr, though, not so lucky. Doesn't have the same kind of mobility that the Phoenix has. He used the BKB for that. I have to imagine. Would like to be able to take that outpost at least and maybe start posturing for some more objectives. Like Roshan, potential spawn time has started. It's actually going to be up in 2 minutes time, so Gaimin Gladiators undoubtedly want to be able to play for that.
That's going to be huge for them either way. Look at this Bristol is just not tanky at all.
No.
If he's actually getting hit by his Tiny, he will evaporate.
Hope the Dire weren't part of it.
That is the one big question mark for T1 in this period is, can this Bristol frontline and get in the fight? Or do they need Zephyr to find the openings, which kind of feels like they do.
Or, they at least need Whitemon behind the Bristleback, right? Because he has a problem with the damage of the Tiny. So if you at least have Decrepify behind him and some life drain heals, then I bet Gabby would be more fine. They're going to pop it. They're going to try and initiate. Boom. He sees the opportunity to catch the backline, and a beautiful outlet coming in from Duraccio. No Phoenix at all, and they're going to keep Gabby slowed down here. Well, the Fiend's Grip also catches Zephyr, so they're going to say, okay, screw it. We can leave the Bristleback behind for now. Let's make sure we get the Shadow Shaman. Duraccio actually wants to keep going for it. Avalanche, maybe a toss back. Oh, the tree by itself and the toss isn't going to be quite enough, but they're going to turn around and start laying into the tier 3. This is the speed we were talking about. Gaimin Gladiators, they like being able to end games before 30 minutes. BKB going off from Carl, trying to just push them out of the base. Delivers a hefty amount of damage to Celery, now kicking Duraccio back as well. Boone's going to reinitiate, and they're actually going to be able to bring down the Phoenix again. No egg for a second time. Boom, though, he's out of mana. Oh no, traded out for a Phoenix. That cannot feel good. Both cores of Gaimin Gladiators, they thought they had an opening there to be able to crack open the whole game by going for the push, disrespecting the impact of Carl.
Carl's just a monster. This guy, he doesn't give a crap about anything. If he thinks he's strong, he's going in, defending his base here. It will be a dieback on Cuckoo. Doesn't get neg off in either fight. Just nice jump and chain stunning by Gladiators. Tiny, Duraccio will pay the price along with Boom, but the biggest thing off of this is this was this fight before the Roshan spawn.
Oh no.
Now T1 are going to try and take advantage of it. Boom buyback to contest this.
What a disaster. They're going to poke at Whitemon here to Decrepify. They quickly dispel that one, but he turns around and just starts healing through. Boom's going to commit and manages to kill Whitemon again. He's going to be hunting that puck now all game long alongside the Shadow Shaman, and he gets both. A double for Boom. A decent outcome for a bad situation.
They want more here, though.
They're going to try. Do they have any hero? I mean, they don't have the Tiny, so I don't know how they possibly stop these two cores, so.
But Carl, he gets the Aegis off that. Once again, T1 robbing Gladiators of this Aegis ability to go higher on their lineup really wants this game, especially when you have this Storm Spirit. I mean, this goes back almost a decade, but this is like the best Aegis user in the game.
Yeah.
Especially now that, you know, his mana pool is worth a lot more with those nulls, so you get to double up all those nulls off the multiple lives. That's how it works, right?
yeah.
Three nulls squared.
Two, yeah.
That's like 9 nulls or something, you know.
Gaimin Gladiators, oh man, if they lose this game, they're going to look back at that moment where they won that fight mid, and then they could have reset and just controlled for Roshan, but instead overextended and inadvertently give the Roshan up to T1.
And I don't even think that end result was bad for them. It was just the timing of it.
Yeah.
The end result's bad, because I don't even think T1, I mean, they're always happy to take Aegis, but I think it's honestly more about denying Gladiators that Aegis and Roshan. Every time they can bring it onto themselves instead of the other way around, that's what feels good for them. And that was Shard too, right? So
yeah, good news is the Shard did go over to Cuckoo, which obviously he can only use the Shard if he uses the egg. So far so good. Gaimin Gladiators.
Not a very optimistic approach there, I see you're taking.
Listen, maybe that just means that Cuckoo's going to be popping the egg even earlier, just because now he can throw out the Sun Ray with it.
Well, now Carl can just go in with the Aegis, right?
That's true.
So now, a bit easier to get that egg off.
Yeah, he's got two different frontliners who can just throw their bodies out there, and he can try and react to it. They're going to be able to catch the Tiny. Immediately response from Zephyr. Drops the wards as well. Boom. Instant response to the support showing themselves. The Decrepify actually keeping him alongside the light drain, but the Fiend's Grip on the Bristleback. He needs help. Somebody help him. Oh, no. He just gets beaten down by the Tiny once again, while Ace is trying to isolate out Carl. No way, again, the shard for nothing. And Carl limping back to his base with the Aegis. But he doesn't have a Bristleback for 50. He doesn't have his Phoenix for 35. A double damage on the Tiny? They might just go straight up high ground. I don't know if Carl can stop this again.
Double damage Tiny at this point in the game is... This is your entire base almost if you don't take the fight. Can Carl 1v4 again?
You can just sleep him. They're just going to be like, okay, all right, you're going to pop the glyph. We're going to go ahead and deal with you real quickly. Second life. He's got the BKB if needed, but all of his buildings in the mid lane are gone. And 15 seconds till the Bristleback is up, so Gaimin Gladiators not going to overextend themselves again. Reset and just farm out the map. Immediate smoke up from T1. They're not even waiting for the Bristleback to be up. They're trying to catch Gaimin Gladiators here by surprise with this time.
Cuckoo wants to use an egg.
He wants Game real bad.
He's gonna use it here.
But they're gonna be able to catch up to some of these heroes. Shiva's going off on the side. The TP in for the Bristleback, but again, boom, being able to find the two supports, instantly demolishes them again and again and again. He keeps on fighting, and the egg may have gone off, but Daracio had more than enough attack speed alongside Ace. Gabby, he doesn't have a way out of this one. He's stuck inside the trees, surrounded by so many heroes. Gaimin Gladiators are gonna be able to match up to him. LSA, nice dodge back there. A step backwards from Gaimin Gladiators. Zephyr also had to put himself in harm's way to make sure that their carry, quote unquote, got out. Well, really, it's more their 2 position. It feels like Carl's the real carry of this team at this point.
I mean, Cuckoo got his egg off, but Carl just BKB TP'd out. He wanted absolutely none of that fight.
Yeah.
Probably for good reason. Daracio just destroyed that thing.
He really did.
He's been a beast this game, just rampaging through. And even more upside, he can get buffed to an insane degree this game. And Ags on the bucket list for Ace here.
Yeah.
I should say the grocery list. He's almost done with it. This is going to be your Tiny Lycan of old here. Maybe the upgraded version, the Terminator 2.
Throwback to TI-10. Look at this. Every single time, Boom has just been so locked in on what he needs to do in these fights.
What's happening?
Every single time those supports show himself, he full zips in with his BKB, and he kills both of them. And Zephyr almost dying there. Decrepify's going to bail him out for a second here, but he tossed. It's going to land on his head. Beautiful ward trap that is going to be able to catch Celery. Daracio is able to fight his way out, but he slowed down the Shivas, and he's not going to get out with the Silver Edge either. In fact, they're going to look for more, and they do find it. Tofu dies as well. A triple pickup for T1.
Maybe getting a little overconfident here.
Yeah.
This is T1 after all. You can never count them out. And yeah, that Shadow Shaman, he looks tasty, but that's your Tiny jumping him, not your Storm. These Decreps have been on point every single time. That last fight we saw, Boom, he jumps the Pugna first because he's been tired of this Shadow Shaman getting decrept. So he's gonna force that out. There, Daracio does not have the same luxury, and once his BKB's out, that's when Gabby can go to town with these Goose Stacks and Sunray, all of these percent burn. Nice ward trap off the death, stalling it up. This Bristleback, he's still gonna do a lot of damage if he can get to hit people.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did we take from that? Gaimin Gladiators, like, just, what is it, a simple overextension, or does he need to does Daracio just focus on being able to hit the Bristleback and let Boom clean up those supports like he's been doing?
You just take the fight with your Storm, right? Boom is so strong.
Yeah.
This guy's 13-3. He has the easiest jumps of his life. He's always going to find Pugna, Shadow Shaman. He's always going to get his BKB off, and there's no counterplay to that.
Yeah.
On top of it, he has an Ags. Let this Ags do the work. You come in with the tree near the end. It's going to be the easiest cleanup of your life, right? You also have a grip sitting behind you, the utility from Enchantress. If you force the fight like that and make Gabby commit, that's when Tofu will grip him every time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this Bristle's not dealing the damage that T1 needs to turn that fight around.
Also, I mean, this Aghanim Scepter is such a big time. You were talking about how the way they can play in and out of the team fights. Well, now all 3 of their cores can very rapidly get in and out of the team fight.
He's level 22, so he's got that extra duration, and he's just biting him up here already. I don't know if T1's ready for this wolf.
He starts making his way over. It's a big, bad Rock Wolf coming in, and Bristleback is already about to be dying here. Zephyr tries to jump in. Boom's already popped his BKB. A beautiful axe jump that is going to be able to once again destroy the back line. Carl throws what damage he can at Tofu, but that is looking like it's it right here. It's a Lycan plus Tiny lineup. You've got 4 dead with no buyback. That's it. T1 calls it. GG. Gaimin Gladiators. They take the speed, they take the pace, they take the tempo, and well, they didn't make it by 30, but 33 minutes, they close out the game.
Very fast-paced game from them. Even though T1 got all of the Roshans in that game, very weird to think about. Felt like those were denied.